Welcome to the English podcast.
Okay, let's unpack this. You've handed us a really compelling stack of material about a topic that is just everywhere this time of year. Christmas.
It's unavoidable.
It is, and we're bombarded with the commercial side, right? The lights, the shopping, just the sheer volume of it all.
Yeah.
But our mission for this deep dive is to kind of cut right through the tinsel and extract the pure, enduring, deeper meaning that's resonated for centuries using only the insights from your sources.
That's absolutely the right focus. The sources you've curated, they don't really dwell on carols or, recipe. They're almost like a moral compass.
Okay.
They argue that the true significance of Christmas, it really just boils down to three profoundly human pillars. Love, hope, and humanity.
Love, hope, and humanity.
And that framing suggests the message isn't constrained by any single tradition or religion, which makes it, universally accessible.
So we're really aiming for the intellectual core of the holiday, giving you a streamlined path, a real shortcut to understanding the essential cultural and moral blueprint of this season.
Precisely. It's about looking at what remains when all the decorations are packed away.
Right.
That set of values that drives human connection and, aspiration.
And to get to those values, we have to start at the beginning, which your material identifies with the central theme of hope.
If we connect this to the bigger picture.
Yes.
So the source material puts the birth of Jesus Christ, who Christians see as the Son of God and the bringer of salvation, right at the center of the whole observance. But this isn't just presented as a historical event. It's the symbolic starting point for the entire moral structure of the holiday.
So the narrative itself provides the bedrock. His arrival, as the sources frame it, is specifically highlighted as symbolizing hope that erupts during a period of, and this is a quote, darkness and uncertainty.
Right.
It's an incredible, dramatic device, isn't it? The most significant potential change coming from the absolute most humble origins.
It is. It's the ultimate archetype of optimism.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what that meant historically. You're facing political turmoil, economic hardship, just a lack of control over your own future. The message of salvation offered a radical shift in perspective, a future defined by light and purpose.
And here's that universal aha moment the sources are driving toward, and this is regardless of your personal faith. It's the lesson that's extracted from that small beginning. The powerful idea that even the smallest beginnings can carry the greatest purpose.
That phrase just resonates, doesn't it? Because it goes beyond theology and becomes this powerful principle of optimism and perseverance for anyone, really, facing any challenge.
It really does.
It tells you that your current circumstances, no matter how small or how quiet or, dark they might feel, they don't dictate the ultimate impact of your actions.
It completely reframes success. It's not about starting big. It's about the potential that's inherent in the smallest seed of effort or belief.
Exactly.
The enduring power of this narrative, as the sources outline it, is because it promises that true purpose can emerge from vulnerability.
And what's fascinating here is how the source material uses this origin story to inspire a kind of moral fortitude.
How so?
Well, if a historical event of this magnitude can start in a stable, it sets an incredibly high bar for what we as individuals should aspire to with our own, seemingly insignificant acts of kindness or perseverance.
Yeah.
It makes hope an active decision.
An active decision. I like that. So the foundation is hope, that essential belief in the future. Now, the material suggests this hope translates directly into practical application, active values. Here's where it gets really interesting. As we move from that symbolic potential to the tangible actions of love and giving.
Yeah, the sources are super clear on this. They say Christmas functions culturally to teach and reinforce the values of radical kindness and generosity. It's like a mandatory global reminder to just be better neighbors.
But when we talk about generosity, we have to talk about gift giving. The modern, commercial version often obscures the real meaning. What do the sources say is the origin of this tradition?
The origin is rooted not in consumerism, but in the idea that love should be shared freely.
Freely.
Yeah. The material interprets the tradition as starting from this really fundamental concept. Jesus' birth itself is seen as the ultimate non-transactional gift to humanity. So the gifts we exchange are meant to be reflections of that pure, unsolicited giving.
That distinction is so crucial. It transforms what can be a really stressful transactional exchange. You bought me this, so I have to buy you that,
Right.
into an intentional act of expressing free, shared love. But
Yeah.
let me challenge that for a moment based on, the reality of the season.
Yeah.
How do the sources reconcile that beautiful ideal with the avalanche of modern commercialism? It's hard to remember the ultimate gift when you're fighting for a parking spot at the mall.
That's a very important question. And the material doesn't ignore the commercial aspect. It kind of provides a filter through which we should view it. The core intention is the focus. The source material really emphasizes that true generosity encourages people to look beyond themselves and extend care to family, friends, and even strangers.
So the monetary value is totally irrelevant.
Totally.
It's the outward action that counts.
Exactly. The source suggests the danger isn't the gift itself, but when the act of giving becomes a performance or, an obligation, when we focus on looking beyond ourselves, that active outward extension of care, the focus just shifts away from receiving and toward the intentionality of the giving. It's like a psychological reset button.
It's the difference between just checking off a shopping list and genuinely thinking about what a person needs or values, and then acting on it purely out of affection.
Yes.
So the sources are basically telling us, when you remove the marketing, the core intention is this powerful, active push toward indiscriminate generosity.
And that act of sharing love freely, it connects very quickly to the societal scale. It's impossible to talk about widespread generosity without immediately moving to community cohesion.
Which brings us to the next section.
The values of togetherness and strengthened bonds.
Right. Shifting gears now from the individual act of giving to the collective function of the season. And the material really stresses how Christmas provides this cultural mandate for togetherness.
Togetherness is such a powerful function of this holiday. It demands a communal pause.
A pause, yeah.
We see families gather, communities unite through shared celebrations, and people who've maybe drifted apart are encouraged to reconnect.
And what's remarkable is the function this plays in our, hyper-busy modern lives. The source material calls this a necessary cultural pause, a moment where people must pause from their busy lives to appreciate those around them and strengthen their bonds.
That pause is so profoundly important from a societal perspective. We live in a world that just praises constant productivity.
Constantly.
But this holiday, it enforces a necessary period where relationships are prioritized over tasks. It's a built-in mechanism to combat social isolation and digital detachment. It reinforces that communal identity at a critical moment in the year.
It provides a shared vocabulary for appreciation. It almost forces gratitude into the public square. When everyone is pausing together, the pressure to focus internally just lessens, and the focus on the external world, your family, your neighbors, your community, is amplified.
And that amplification of human connection, it sets the stage for the highest aspiration that the sources outline for the season.
Which is?
Peace and forgiveness.
And this is where the simple joy celebration gives way to the deeper and sometimes much harder moral work.
Yes.
The core message here is about understanding.
The sources frame healing, forgiveness, and understanding as not just, desirable qualities, but as essential for a harmonious life.
Wow.
It's a very strong statement. It places internal and external peace at the very top of the hierarchy of values.
That's a huge claim.
Essential.
So if these values are essential, what happens when they're absent? The material seems to suggest that the failure to forgive creates disharmony.
It does.
But again, let's be real, the holidays are often a massive flashpoint for family conflict.
Oh, absolutely.
Precisely because that pressure for togetherness forces incompatible groups into, close quarters. So how do the sources address this tension between the ideal of peace and the reality of seasonal stress?
That's the tension that gives the core message its weight. And the sources, they implicitly recognize that tension. They do it by offering practical pathways to peace that don't require some sudden massive reconciliation.
Okay, so what are they?
The material details how Christmas inspires choosing peace over conflict by listing methods like through prayer, reflection, or simple acts of kindness.
So it's not about solving decades of family feuds in one evening.
Not at all.
It's about the choice toward peace, maybe initiated by something as simple as a mindful moment of reflection or a tiny, unsolicited act of kindness toward the person who annoys you the most.
Exactly. The shift from conflict to compassion, it begins with intention. And that intention doesn't need a grand public gesture. It requires profound personal reflection. The holiday serves as the annual alarm clock, just reminding you that carrying grievances is detrimental to your own well-being and to the collective harmony. It mandates the consideration of understanding.
It's fascinating. It's like the cyclical cultural event forces us to address our spiritual and emotional debts every single year. A moral performance review.
It truly is. And the goal is to move beyond mere tolerance toward genuine active understanding, recognizing the inherent humanity in others, which is the very pillar we introduced at the start of this deep dive.
So what does this all mean? If we synthesize everything we've extracted from the sources, the foundational hope, the practical application of free love, the societal function of togetherness, and that moral aspiration of peace, what's the final essence that holds it all together?
Well, the final overarching point is that the true essence of Christmas goes far beyond the surface elements of celebration.
The music, the decorations.
The music, decorations, gifts, food, those are just the accessories that mark the season. They're necessary, maybe, but they're ultimately superficial.
The real substance is the reflection and the redirection of our attention.
Absolutely. The source material brings us to the conclusion that this season is fundamentally a time to reflect on what truly matters: compassion, gratitude, and the enduring joy of giving. That's the non-denominational framework.
And here is the truly vital takeaway, I think. The sources make sure that these values, compassion, gratitude, hope, offer something meaningful to everyone, whether you're religious or not. It's not meant to be an exclusionary cultural moment. It's a shared human experience of aspiring toward better conduct, and that's universally applied.
It speaks to the shared human experience of looking for light in darkness and finding meaning in our relationships rather than in our material possessions.
That universality is exactly what allows this powerful set of values to endure, regardless of global shifts or commercial pressures. It's a yearly reset button focused on essential human connection and optimism. So if the central message is about strengthening bonds and choosing peace through simple kindness, and we remember that fundamental promise that hope springs from the idea that small beginnings carry the greatest purpose, what small reflective action could you take this week that connects back to that theme? Maybe it's a tiny, unprompted act of forgiveness, or just a moment of genuine, non-transactional gratitude. A tiny seed of kindness planted today could carry unexpected purpose tomorrow.
An excellent thought to end on. Thank you for providing us with these insights for this deep dive.
We'll get you next time.
Subscribe to learn English.